It's time for the January greenhouse tour. The plants in here look a little bit sad. This is honestly common once I pull the frost fabric off. Usually, once they have more access to the light, they start to perk up a little bit. I've checked the soil moisture level when I was in here just by sticking my hand in the soil. And because I could feel moisture, I am not going to try and water in here. I have several nights coming up where temperatures are going to be below zero outside, which means it's going to be a little bit tough for the plants in here. However, last season, my winter was a little bit more harsh than this one has been so far. So I've got pretty strong hope that most things will survive just fine. The temperature outside is a good 8 degrees cooler than what's inside. At the peak of the greenhouse, the thermometer was reading like 37 degrees Fahrenheit. And at the base, I'm getting 38, 39 degrees Fahrenheit coming out of my geothermal tubing. And that's been maintaining a good steady temperature down near the plants overnight. Even the nights I've had where it's been down in single digits. But this upcoming week with negative values outside is going to be really the true test, I guess, for this season. There haven't been any big changes in any of the plants that have been in here. Because of everything I have planted in here, we haven't needed to purchase any vegetables from the store this winter. It is only January, but so far our outlook looks pretty good. A bunch of the things that I sowed later, radishes, for example, or rutabagas, are still in a very small seedling stage. That's common for the winter as well. So I don't really have anything new to share with you, except for a very real visual for you that the winter harvest for me often looks like some of these more sad leaves. And because I've been busy working on house projects inside, I haven't spent a lot of time pruning out here. So I wanted you, if you're unfamiliar with winter harvest, to understand that if your plants look a little bit sad when you uncover them from the cold, that's normal. They're often much more resilient than we give them credit for, and they'll bounce right back. Mostly what we've been getting out of the greenhouse this season has been a giant salad bowl of mixed greens, and I use the radish leaves for that, as well as the winter lettuces I've been growing and the mustard in there. And then I have quite a few cabbage leaves that I've been enjoying in cabbage rolls with like ground sausage on the inside and whatever seasonings you prefer. But in the winter, we've been making a lot of stir fries. And so my rapini broccoli has been doing really well for just those once a week dishes of having a veggie stirred in. Aside from that, the real star has been radishes and winter greens. The other thing added to my winter system is essentially every time I get a snow, I start the day by brushing off the exterior of the greenhouse so that light can get through. And oftentimes when I come home for lunch, I'll have to do it again. And sometimes that happens again in the evening. Also in the winter, I have a need to water much less. So as the greenhouse defrosts during the day, the frost that is on the inside of the polycarbonate melts and drips down into the beds. And even if I have my frost fabric on, that's a permeable material, so the moisture can get through there, which is kind of nice because that does cut down a little bit on my garden chores for the season. You may have heard me a lot last season talking about the time it takes in the winter compared to the time it takes in the summer. And these activities are really a large part of it. A lot of my summer season gardening is taken up by the harvest, obviously, but also weeding, watering routinely, because with the heat of summer, the water evaporates more quickly. Plants need it more often. In the winter, the weeds are growing just as slowly as everything else. So there's nothing really to keep up on there. The watering is very minimal. So if you're stopping in for excitement in the winter greenhouse tour, there's not a whole lot of it. The good news is I will be planting warm season crops in the greenhouse, and I'm starting the seeds for the first of those in about 2 weeks. So I will be preparing for the 2024 garden season starting at the end of January. So that should be a video that's coming out later this month. In between time, I've started a new playlist showing you how I handle the harvest, titled Handling the Harvest. And that's where you can find me making things like solves, various cooking recipes. I try to keep those recipes 5 ingredients or less, just because if you are learning a new skill like gardening, more than 5 ingredients is just more than I want to put into it. I am already short on time. Winter is also a good time for me to start fermenting things because I have more time to devote to setting them up, paying attention to that process, up to and including country wines. So my winter greenhouse tours are a little light on new varieties and vegetable progress because the vegetables are making very slow progress. But they are here for me each week to be able to pull from, which has significantly reduced my time that I spend in the grocery store shopping for things, as well as severely limited my veggie budget for the grocery store. It's all just here. And the convenience of being able to come out and grab that, and having things like winter savory, rosemary, and oregano, just a short trip from my kitchen, is really satisfying for me. If you have any questions about the winter veggie garden, leave those in the comments below. Thanks for coming along with me, and I'll catch you next time.
You're doing fine. Come on, baby.